The phone buzzes before the sun is fully awake. Its glow spills across the nightstand, bright and insistent, as if the world cannot wait even a breath before reaching for you. You know the feeling well. That small device has become a bell you answer without question. Another message, another request, another yes waiting at the edge of your thumb. You lift it. Not because you want to, but because it has become habit. The screen feels heavier than it should, heavier than glass and metal alone. You scroll through a string of names, each carrying an expectation. Can you cover this shift? Could you bring dessert tonight? Would you mind checking on that project? None of them cruel, none of them impossible. And still, the weight grows. Beside the phone, a mug of coffee waits. The steam has already thinned into the air. You meant to savor it, to hold warmth between your hands for just a moment. But the buzzing pulled you away. Now the mug is only half drunk, cooling faster than you realize, as if echoing your own forgotten pause. Some mornings, the phone feels heavier than you are. You nod yes while whispering no inside, afraid that if the world hears your refusal, it will turn its back. It's not that you want to disappoint anyone. It's that you've learned to hold their comfort above your own. And in doing so, your own needs have slipped somewhere beneath the surface, quiet and unseen. Outside the window, light begins to touch the blinds, thin stripes cutting across the wall. The city hums to life. Footsteps on the pavement, a car door closing, the low thrum of an engine starting. The world keeps moving forward, asking for more, and you find yourself wondering, when was the last time you said yes and meant it? You remember how, as a child, the word no came so easily. No, I'm not tired. No, I don't want broccoli. No, I don't want to share my crayons. Children hold no like a natural shield, their honesty uncomplicated. Somewhere along the years, that shield slipped away, replaced with a softer word, a word that pleases, a word that buys belonging. Yes, of course. Yes, no problem. Yes, I can handle it. But each yes comes with a cost, the cost of another late night, another skipped breath, another piece of yourself offered up before you even had time to ask whether it was yours to give. The phone buzzes again. It's a small tremor in the silence. Your hand hovers, ready to pick it up, ready to give yourself away once more, and yet something in you pauses. You notice the mug, still sitting, still waiting. You notice the taste of cool coffee when you bring it to your lips, how the bitterness lingers longer when the warmth is gone. You wonder, is this what my yes has become? A habit I swallow without thought, growing colder each time? In that pause, you hear your own quiet voice, almost forgotten. I am tired. I am stretched thin. I am more than my automatic answers. It's not defiance that rises in you, not anger. It's simply the truth. A truth as steady and ordinary as the mug in your hand, as the phone still buzzing beside it. A truth that whispers, you have a choice. Kierkegaard called anxiety the dizziness of freedom. Perhaps this is what he meant. That shaky feeling when you realize you are not bound to say yes. That the floor is not fixed beneath you. That you can step one way or another. And the dizziness is proof that you are free to decide. For a moment, the phone is not only a summons, it is a mirror. It reflects the pattern you've carried, the countless nods and unspoken no's. But it also reflects possibility, that today could be different, if you let it. You set the mug down gently, your fingers leaving a faint ring of warmth on the counter. The phone still waits. The requests still stand. But you are not rushing to answer. You are not leaning forward to silence the buzz. Instead, you breathe. Once, twice, 3 times. And in that breath, a new question arrives, tender and steady. What if my next yes belonged to me? The room is quiet again, save for the hum of the city, the soft creak of a chair, the fading hiss of the kettle. Morning light stretches wider across the blinds, painting your walls with brightness you didn't notice before. The phone lies still, its screen dimmed, no longer demanding, but simply waiting. This is your life, right here. The mug cooling, the light shifting, the phone resting like a mirror, not to accuse you, not to condemn you. Only to remind you that in each small moment, in each yes and each no, you are shaping the life you live. And as you stand in the quiet of this ordinary morning, you feel the smallest spark of courage. Not loud, not triumphant, but real. The kind of courage that begins in silence, in one breath, in one honest choice. The phone buzzes again, and this time you reach for it without thinking. Your thumb slides across the screen before your mind has caught up. Sure, I can take care of that. The words send back warmth to the other person, but leave a thin chill inside your chest. It isn't that the request was cruel, it never is. A neighbor asking for a favor, a colleague needing a little extra support, a family member hoping you'll show up one more time. Each one, on its own, feels reasonable. But when stacked together, day after day, it becomes something else, a quiet erosion. You tell yourself it's kindness. You tell yourself it's responsibility. And sometimes it is. But underneath, there's another truth. You're afraid of what will happen if you don't say yes. If I say no, will they think I'm selfish? If I say no, will they stop calling me? If I say no, will I prove I'm not enough? These thoughts don't shout, they whisper. They curl at the edges of your day like smoke, subtle but suffocating. And so you keep nodding, keep typing yes, keep stretching yourself thin until the line between generosity and self-abandonment blurs. Why do you treat your own time as less sacred than anyone else's? The question lands heavy in the air. You don't ask it out loud, but it waits. Like an echo behind every agreement, you say yes to others and whisper no to yourself. The contradiction stings. You remember nights when you promised yourself rest. You planned a quiet evening, tea steeping, a book by the lamp, maybe a bath to ease your tired body. And then, a text arrived. Could you take this on? Before you knew it, the bathwater was cold in the tub and the lamp went dark without opening the book. Another night offered to someone else. Another silent no to your own longing. And the truth is, no one asked you to erase yourself so completely. The people in your life may not even know the cost. They only see the yes. They see reliability, helpfulness, availability. They don't see the weight you carry afterward, the way your shoulders tense when you lie down at night, the way your chest feels tight when the phone lights up again. It's not malice that drives them, it's habit. And it's not weakness that drives you, it's fear. Fear of being unloved, fear of being unnecessary, fear of being left behind. So you fill the space with yes, as if constant agreement could guarantee connection. But connection built on erasure doesn't hold. You've noticed it already. Sometimes, even when you show up, you feel invisible. Sometimes, even when you say yes, you leave the moment emptier than when you arrived. Because presence without honesty is only half a presence. The phone buzzes again, a small tremor on the table like a heartbeat you can't ignore. You answer, of course. And once again, you feel yourself dim just a little more. You think of the mug from earlier, half drunk and cooling, how quickly warmth fades when left unattended. Isn't that what's happening here? Each yes you give away pulls a little more warmth from your own cup until what remains tastes bitter and thin. Maybe tomorrow you'll learn to say no. That's what you tell yourself as you type another yes tonight. You imagine a future where courage will arrive in a flash, where you'll finally set the phone down and let silence be your answer. But tomorrow keeps slipping into tomorrow, and the habit stays the same. There's no shame in this pattern, only tenderness. You are not broken for wanting to be loved. You are not wrong for fearing the silence that might follow a no. These fears are human, shared by many who've learned that approval feels safer than rejection. Still, beneath the fear, something else stirs. A quiet awareness that your life cannot keep expanding outward without tending to the center. That constant yes is not the same as love. That belonging cannot be bought with exhaustion. The contradiction is clear now. Every time you say yes to preserve closeness, you risk drifting further from yourself. Every time you answer to avoid being forgotten, you forget your own needs. It is not sustainable. It is not kind. Not to you, not to them. Because a hollow yes eventually empties the bond it tries to protect. So you breathe deeply this time. You notice the phone resting in your palm, the faint hum still alive in its circuits, and you wonder, not with anger, not with blame, but with tender curiosity. What would happen if I didn't answer right away? The thought alone feels radical, like standing at the edge of something vast and unsteady. It is frightening, yes, but in the fear, there's also a spark. The beginning of freedom, trembling like the first step onto unknown ground. For now, you don't act. You simply hold the phone, aware of its weight, aware of your own. You allow the contradiction to be seen, named, and carried into the light. And in that naming, you feel less alone. You are not the only one who has lived this pattern. You are not the only one who has whispered no in secret. You are part of a quiet multitude, learning slowly that self-respect and love need not be opposites. The room settles around you. The hum of the city softens. The coffee mug still waits on the counter, its last sip cool, its message steady. Unattended, things grow cold, but tended even in small ways, warmth can return. The phone buzzes once more. At first, it's nothing unusual. The same vibration, the same request waiting just beyond the glow of the screen. You nearly answer without thinking, but something interrupts. From the corner of the room, a child's voice cuts through. Are you even listening? It's such a small question, almost casual, but it lands like a stone in still water. You turn your head, startled, realizing you've been half present all along. The child's eyes are wide, searching, as if they've been waiting for your gaze to land fully on them. In that instant, you see yourself clearly, phone in hand, coffee gone cold on the counter, body in the room but spirit elsewhere. You've said yes so many times that your presence is thinned, stretched across other people's needs until there's barely enough left for the people closest to you. Barely enough left for you. The contradiction you carried silently in earlier moments now cracks open into a painful truth. Saying yes to everyone has meant saying no to your own life. The realization doesn't roar. It doesn't thunder. It arrives like a quiet breaking, like the sound of glass settling after a fracture. Something in you whispers with sharp clarity, if I keep this up, I will vanish from my own life. The buzzing phone in your hand suddenly feels heavier, not just with expectation, but with loss. How many warm cups of coffee have cooled into bitterness while you typed one more yes? How many conversations have slipped into half attention, your eyes drawn to the screen instead of the person in front of you? How many moments, unrepeatable, tender, ordinary, have been traded for an obligation that left you emptier? The thought is sobering. The room itself seems to pause. You notice the hush between footsteps in the hallway, the faint hum of the city slowing outside, even your own breath catching in your throat. This pause is not emptiness. It is a mirror. You look at the phone again, and now it is more than an object. It is a symbol of every yes you've given without thought, every surrender to fear of disapproval, every attempt to hold on to belonging by letting go of yourself. The buzzing has become a signal of neglect, not of others, but of you. And yet, In this sharp moment of recognition, there's also possibility. Because cracks, painful as they are, let light in. The child's voice echoes again, not accusing, but longing. Are you even listening? The question lingers beyond its literal meaning. It asks something deeper. Are you listening to your life, to your own heart? To the voice that whispers beneath all the noise? You feel the ache in your chest, not just from weariness, but from years of betraying those whispers. And now, suddenly, the cost is undeniable. A friend's text flashes on the screen. You don't seem like yourself lately. Are you okay? The timing is uncanny. Two small voices in one day, both carrying the same message. You are drifting away. Not because you don't care, but because you've been living too long in borrowed yeses. For a moment, your eyes sting. Not from anger, but from sorrow. You realize that if you do not change, the very things you're trying to protect with constant agreement, love, trust, closeness, will slip away anyway. Relationships cannot be nourished by a hollow shell of presence. They need the real you. You set the phone down slowly, as if it might break under its own weight. The silence that follows is strange, almost dizzying. But inside that dizziness is clarity. The cost of staying agreeable is your own disappearance. And that is too high a price. You glance again at the cold coffee mug. The surface is still no steam rising, just a dull reflection of the ceiling light. That simple image pierces you, unattended. Even warmth fades. Left too long, even something meant to comfort turns bitter. This is your warning. This is your soul's crack, not to punish, but to wake you. You sit in the stillness, letting the realization wash over you. It's frightening to admit how much has already slipped away. And yet, naming it is the first step back. You are not beyond repair. You are not too far gone. You are simply standing at a threshold, one choice leading to further vanishing, the other to a return of self. The room hums with quiet. The phone lies dimmed, no longer a master, but a mirror. The coffee mug is empty now, but tomorrow, another cup will wait. What you choose then, to drink it warm or let it go cold again, will be a sign of where your yes belongs. For now, you whisper a promise into the silence, fragile but real. I will not vanish. I will not lose myself to enter in the chest. The spinning thought of what if is not proof of weakness. It is proof that we are free. When you think about saying no, that's what rises in you, the dizziness, the flutter in your stomach, the nervous heat behind your eyes, the whisper of doubt. Can I really do this? Will people still love me? Will I still belong? That discomfort feels unbearable at times. And yet, Kierkegaard reminds us, it is the very sign that something alive is stirring. Your ability to choose. You have been living in automatic yeses because they feel safer, predictable. The moment you type, of course, or say, sure, no problem, the anxiety quiets for a second. You avoid the dizziness. You avoid the edge, but what you also avoid is freedom. The paradox Kierkegaard offers is that fear is not your enemy. Fear is your companion on the threshold of authenticity. That tremble you feel when your finger hovers over the keyboard about to type a different answer is not a warning of doom. It's an invitation. Step into your real self. Think of the phone in your hand. Until now, it has been a chain, each buzz pulling you deeper into other people's expectations, each screen lighting up to remind you of obligations you didn't choose but accepted anyway. But if you look again, it can also be a gateway, a mirror, a moment where anxiety signals that you are free to pause, free to ask, is this yes mine to give? The dizziness of freedom is uncomfortable, yes, but it is also holy. It means your life is not locked. It means you are not condemned to endless yeses. It means you are still able to shape a new response. In today's culture, you're not alone in this struggle. People flood TikTok with hashtags like #boundaries are love, sharing videos of learning to say no without apology. On Reddit, strangers confess to people-pleasing fatigue, trading stories of burnout and quiet resentment. Millions whisper the same truth you've carried. I'm tired of giving myself away. And beneath those confessions, a movement grows. Not loud, not flashy, but steady. A movement toward choosing with honesty instead of obligation. Toward presence that is whole, not half. Toward love that doesn't require self-erasure. Kierkegaard helps us see this not as selfishness, but as courage. Quiet courage. The kind that doesn't need applause or big declarations. The kind that trembles but still steps forward. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to feel the dizziness and still choose what is true. So when you hear the phone buzz and your body tightens, pause. That tension is not proof you're failing. It's proof you're alive at the edge of freedom. When your chest aches with the thought of disappointing someone, breathe. That ache is not your enemy. It is the sound of your soul asking you to be honest. You can reframe the anxiety, not as a sign of danger, but as a signal of possibility. The spinning sensation is simply your spirit adjusting to new ground, preparing to stand in a choice you have long postponed. And the truth is, the people who matter most to you don't need endless yeses. They need you, present, whole, and real. They may be surprised at first. They may even push back. But real love is not threatened by boundaries. Real love deepens when it meets honesty. Imagine tomorrow morning. The phone buzzes, your fingers twitch toward the screen, and then you pause. You breathe. You hear Kierkegaard's paradox in your heart. This dizziness is freedom. You smile, even through the nerves, because you realize the tremor is your proof of courage. You are not broken. You are beginning. Fear is not the wall. It is the doorway. You don't have to rush through it. You don't have to slam the door behind you. You only have to take one small step forward, holding the dizziness as a companion, not an enemy. And in that step, you begin to see yourself again, not as the sum of other people's requests, not as the endless yes, but as someone who belongs to their own life first, someone who can offer presence because they have chosen it freely, not out of fear. This is what Kierkegaard whispers across centuries. Your anxiety does not prove you are weak, it proves you are free to choose. And freedom, though dizzying, is the birthplace of authentic living. So let the phone buzz, let the coffee steam and cool, let the world ask for more than you can give. You do not have to vanish in order to be loved. You only have to be honest, and honesty begins here. In one quiet pause, in one soft no, in one tremble of freedom that feels like fear but is actually your first step toward life. Courage doesn't always arrive with trumpets. Most often, it tiptoes in disguised as a pause. The strength you need doesn't come from shouting no across a room. It begins in smaller ways, tender, ordinary, almost invisible. This morning, the phone buzzes again. Your chest tightens as usual. But instead of typing, "Sure, I'll handle it," you take 3 slow breaths. Inhale, hold, exhale, repeat. With each breath, your body reminds you that you are not a machine of constant yes. You are a person who can choose. That pause is your first act of quiet courage. From there, the steps unfold gently. They don't need to be dramatic. In fact, the more ordinary, the more sustainable they become. First step, one honest no. Maybe it's the email you've been avoiding. The one that's been sitting in drafts because you feared how the other person might read it. You finally type it. "I can't take this on right now." Simple, clear, respectful. You read it twice, your finger hovering over send. The dizziness rises, but so does a steadiness. You press send anyway. The world doesn't end. The sky doesn't fall. And inside, something unclenches. A small knot loosens in your chest. That no is not rejection. It is honesty. It is self-respect. Second step, the mindful pause. The next time a request arrives, you don't answer right away. You let the phone rest face down. You sip your coffee while it's still warm. You allow yourself 10 minutes before deciding. In those minutes, you check in with yourself. Do I actually want to say yes? Do I have the capacity? Will this choice honor my life, not just theirs? Sometimes the answer is still yes, and you give it with peace. Sometimes it is no, and you let that stand without apology. Either way, it is yours. Third step, the softer reply. Not every yes needs to be immediate or total. You begin to try different phrases. Let me think about it. Or, I can't do that. But I can help in this smaller way. These phrases are bridges, not walls. They give space for connection while protecting your presence. They remind both you and others that your value isn't measured by exhaustion. The beauty of these steps is their humility. They don't demand perfection. They don't require you to reinvent your entire life overnight. They only ask you to reclaim your choices one moment at a time. Each small no makes space for a truer yes. And you notice the ripple effects. When you say no with clarity, your yes begins to shine again. You are no longer offering diluted presence. You are offering real presence. Unforced, unresentful, whole. Friends notice you're more attentive when you do show up. Family notices your laughter carries further. Even you notice the difference. Coffee tastes warmer. Mornings feel steadier. Silence feels less like a threat and more like a home. Of course, there will still be fear. Your chest may still tighten. The dizziness may still return. But now, instead of seeing it as failure, you see it as freedom's companion. Each tremor means you are standing at the threshold of choice again, and each time you step forward, even in tiny increments, you prove to yourself that courage is possible. This is where the lesson becomes universal. The quiet courage to say no is not just about boundaries. It is about living honestly. It is about building trust with yourself so you can also build trust with others. It is about showing up fully instead of halfway. Think of how many corners of your life could feel lighter with one soft no. The work project that drains you past midnight, the social event you attend out of obligation instead of joy, the favor that stretches you thin. Each no in those places is also a yes. Yes to rest, yes to presence, yes to the parts of life you've been neglecting. Pocket actions remind you that change doesn't happen in sweeping gestures. It happens in moments. 3 breaths before answering. 1 sentence typed with honesty. 1 cup of coffee finished while still warm. 1 night reclaimed for rest. These are not small in spirit. They are sacred in their simplicity. You might worry that saying no will push people away. But the truth is, honesty deepens trust. Over time, people learn that when you say yes, you mean it. They learn that your presence is real, not automatic. They learn that your friendship, your love, your care are not obligations. They are gifts, and you learn too. You learn that you are capable of more than endless agreement. You learn that your worth was never tied to constant availability. You learn that freedom is not grand or distant. It is right here in the way you answer the next buzz of your phone. Courage isn't loud. Sometimes it's one soft no. So as you move through your day, keep it simple. Try 1 honest no. Try 1 mindful pause. Try 1 softer reply. That's enough. These are not just actions. They are practices of dignity. They are proof that you can begin again. And in beginning again, you don't just protect yourself, you make your love more sustainable. You make your presence more real. You make your life your own. The phone will buzz again tomorrow. The request will come, but so will your choice. And that choice, small and trembling though it may be, is how courage takes root. The phone rests quietly now, face down on the table. Its hum has faded into silence, not because the world has stopped asking, but because you have stopped rushing to answer. For the first time in a long while, the device is not a chain tugging at your attention. It is just an object, metal, glass, circuits, waiting to be chosen or left alone. You sit with your coffee, still warm this time. You sip it slowly, the steam brushing your face, the taste alive and full. It is not bitter yet. It is not forgotten. It is here, like you are here. And something as simple as drinking a mug before it cools becomes a sign of presence, a declaration that you belong in your own life. This is what courage looks like in practice. Not grand speeches, not fiery defiance, just small reclaimings of time, small gestures of care. The phone on the table, the coffee in your hand, the air moving in and out of your lungs. These are not background details. They are proof of your existence, proof of your worth. And as you sit in this moment, you remember the voices that pierced you awake. The child's question, the friend's concern. They were not warnings of failure. They were reminders of love. They were echoes urging you back to yourself. Saying no was never about building walls. It was about clearing the way for real connection. The phone buzzes once, then falls silent again. You don't move. You don't apologize for the pause. You finish your sip of coffee, feeling the warmth travel down your throat. When you finally pick up the phone, it's not out of fear, it's out of choice. And that makes all the difference. You own your yes, and you own your no. The thought steadies you, because for so long, the yes felt automatic, like reflex instead of response. Now, each yes can be offered with honesty. Each no can be spoken with dignity. Both are gifts when chosen freely. Both are part of love when rooted in truth. The symbol that once bound you, the buzzing phone, has softened. It is no longer an alarm bell pulling you away from yourself. It is a mirror reflecting your choices back to you. And in that reflection, you see possibility. You see the life that waits when you stop disappearing into everyone else's needs. The coffee mug, too, returns as a witness. Earlier, it grew cold as you abandoned it for another obligation. Now it is finished while still warm. A small act, but radiant with meaning. It shows that you can tend to what is yours without guilt. It shows that care for yourself is not indulgence, it is necessary. Outside, the light has shifted. Morning has opened into day. The city hum continues, footsteps and voices rising and fading like tides. The world still moves quickly, still asks endlessly. But you have slowed. You have chosen to listen inward before answering outward. And in that slowing, you discover that life is not passing you by. Life is meeting you right here. Will your next yes be honest or automatic? The question lingers in the air, not as judgment, but as invitation. You do not need to decide all at once. You only need to hold the question close, to let it guide you the next time the phone hums, the next time someone asks, the next time fear whispers, you are not enough. Because now you know the truth. You are not measured by how many yeses you give. You are measured by the presence you bring to the yeses that matter, and by the courage you find in the no's that protect your soul. And so you rise, placing the mug gently in the sink. You stretch your shoulders, breathing in air that feels lighter somehow. The phone remains on the table, silent for now. Tomorrow it will buzz again. Tomorrow the request will come. But tomorrow you will also wake with this memory, the moment you chose presence over performance, truth over fear. Beginning again does not require the world's permission, only yours. You glance once more at the phone. Its surface reflects the morning light. No longer harsh, but soft, almost tender. You smile, not because the struggle is over, but because you have discovered a way to meet it with dignity. Your yes belongs to you now. So does your no. And in that quiet courage, you find something even more precious. The chance to be fully here, fully alive in your own one life.